Today we're going to talk about how getting the diagnosis of autism will help you to get the services that you need. As I said in the last lesson, that diagnosis will help your child to receive help that they were not eligible for without that official diagnosis from a doctor. And insurance will be more willing to help pay for therapies received with that official diagnosis as well. But before we cover that, I want to talk to you a little about the diagnosis your child might receive. First off, I have friends that thought that their child may have autism, and they went and got their child tested at an autism center only to not end up getting a diagnosis of autism. And sometimes that happens. A person can have a lot of the behaviors and traits of someone with autism, but can end up testing low enough on the autism spectrum that the doctor may not feel like an autism diagnosis is warranted. If that happens to you, don't give up hope. Maybe your child will grow through and grow out of the things that you are most concerned about. Or maybe you can enroll your child in some school or community therapy or help groups even without getting an official diagnosis. However, if you are still concerned, you could always seek a second opinion as well. That is fine. The bottom line is there are always options. So never forget that. There's always options for you. Now, some of you, the diagnosis may end up on the opposite side of things, and you end up getting a diagnosis that things are worse than you thought it might be. Now, for me, I already knew that our oldest son had autism before we even got his official diagnosis. However, that didn't stop me from being emotional when it became official. When the doctor that had evaluated our son at the autism center looked at us in the face and for the first time said, "Your son does have autism," it took me a minute to realize that I'd stopped breathing. I already knew it, and it still hit me hard. Some of you may get some news that hits you pretty hard, and some of you have a child that is not high functioning, and they never will be. I'd say listen to what the Autism Center has to say, and pay close attention to what their recommendations are. If you don't agree with them, that's okay, and be real with how you feel and tell them. Now is a great time to tell someone how you feel about the diagnosis and what is being communicated to you. And then I would follow through on the recommendations that they believe will be helpful to you and your child. Most places truly want to help. So, number 1, be real with how you feel. Number 2, dust yourself off. This may take a week or 2, and that's okay. And number 3, get to work on how to help your child. When we got to the place of getting to work on how to help our child, we first contacted his school. We immediately put a school plan in place. We'll cover this in a different session. We also contacted our local doctor to see what therapies were available to him. Again, this topic will be covered in a different session as well. But the point is, we took the diagnosis we received and we ran with it. We did a few things. We received the information, we absorbed and processed it, and then we went to work implementing it. So, what is your next step? Did you contact your doctor? Did you schedule an appointment about getting your child evaluated to see if they have autism? Have you enrolled your child in some programs and services that will help them? Whatever your next step is, I would say please stop right now and take that next step.